Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be back in Washington, D.C. area because I lived in the States for 24 years and I had my last residency here for close to 9 years. And I'd like to thank John Dunn for inviting me and being on this panel with the wonderful distinguished speakers. And also, Haluk Hocam, congratulations on holding the second TASA conference at University of Maryland College Park. Aydoğan, congratulations to you. And I've known Aydoğan when he was just starting as a principal investigator because I work for National Science Foundation, so I got to see him grow and become a star as well. So it's so wonderful for me to be back here, and it's also a great honor for me because I'm here to share with you my career journey and also share my perspectives. When I looked at the title of the panel, I saw this, sharing our stories, our perspectives. So if you don't mind, I'm going to blizzard through some slides, but go through my career as a linear path, but highlight a few activities that really made a difference in my life, and especially those ones that focused in women and the diversity. Now, looking at this audience, I would say it's 50% in participation. So I do see all of the women here are the ones that we would call agents of change. And the men I see here are the champions of diversity. Okay, that's how I'm going to name it. So men have lots of responsibility, okay, if you want a take-home message from my talk. Okay, again, my journey and my perspectives. And let's see how the slides go. Oops. Did it go? Okay, so I had very formal training in electrical engineering, computer engineering, and biomedical engineering in Turkey and in the United States. But I didn't notice it in Turkey that women in engineering were lower in percentage. No. Merit-based education, we were there in good enrollment. But when I came to the United States, that's where I noticed. At Rice University, I noticed it was like 9% women engineering students in electrical engineering. That's when I realized there's something different. That's when I started having this passion for diversity. And later I will show you how it happened. So my career journey, I worked in industry. I worked in Germany. There I realized I was the only woman engineer working for Siemens in X-ray research development. Then I started working for two other German companies, MBB and Rodenstock, with their medical lasers. Again, I was the only woman engineer and the manager. In academia, again, in the United States, I realized that women were low in percentages in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. As a faculty member, I had responsibility. Or whenever I would travel back to Turkey as a visiting faculty or serving as a consultant for some universities, I realized I have to make sure I can bridge what I've seen in the United States or what I'm doing there to Turkey. So for 24 years, I volunteered for Society of Women Engineers, and I will explain what I've done with them. But when I served for U.S. government, as mentioned by Francis before, I was at the National Science Foundation as a program director. And biomedical engineering was my program. And this morning's sessions, you've seen lots of wonderful Turkish scientists working bioengineering or biological sciences. We do excel in that field. But I also had 20 other programs I was working with, and one of them was a women's initiative called Advance, and I will talk about that. Another work that I did for the State Department was that I was selected as a United States Embassy Science Fellow, and I served in Ankara, and I overlapped with Sharon that time. And through that experience, there's a lot I'm going to share with you. So let me move to my next slides. Okay. So Society of Women Engineers has been so important in my life because when I came to the United States, I realized low percentage of women in STEM education. I immediately became a member of SWE at my university, Rice University. That time, my sister was also very active in SWE. We were two Turkish sisters studying in the United States, very active in SWE, because back home we didn't feel that difference, but here in the United States, we felt we were lower in percentage as women engineering students. And also, along with my other societies, for example, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, we had women groups there. And Banu Onaral was the president that time when I volunteered for that group. We were always focusing on promoting diversity, and especially focusing on women. But we as Turks, we were the ones leading that. because back in our country, it was merit-based, and we didn't see that difference. But in the United States, the Western we go, we could see that. With Turkish American Scientists Scholars Association, I worked for this group 9-10 years ago, and I was on the original team. And we could see that we had lots of Turkish American women working in the group. And it's so wonderful to see you as a vice president, John Dunn. Okay. Well, what I believe in is we have to really raise awareness on the issue of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, diversity, and innovation. We need to really educate different audiences. K through 12, as Francis gave some examples. At our universities, we're doing lots of education, definitely, in our peer groups or through our journals, publications, especially in education and diversity. But one of those things that I really believe in and that I started for Society of Women Engineers was educating the U.S. Congress, the policymakers, the ones that write the laws and that get to vote on those. So it's very important to work in that. And definitely, we're all responsible in educating public. So with my United States Embassy Science Fellow job that I did in Ankara, it was such a great pleasure for me to travel to Turkey and have that time overlap with Sharon's work in Istanbul as well, to try to see what is the brain power in Turkey. Because my goal was to write a report, and the report was initially going to be called Science Diplomacy, but I renamed it as Science Diplomacy with Public Diplomacy, because I was reaching out to public, educating and letting them know what's so important about science. And with this report, I really focused on what areas Turkey and US should work together in science and collaborate. And a little bit later, I will present you what they are. As a result, and also my report was a foundation for the Science and Technology Agreement that United States and Turkey signed on October 20, 2010. And it took them 14 years to re-sign this agreement because the initial one had been signed in 1996. So I did lots of presentations, brainstorming sessions, and really got the brain power of Turkey and understood what is so important for both countries to work together. But the very first thing I should tell you is I took science and described it as natural sciences, social sciences, fine arts, and applied sciences. But I really had to integrate education. Education is so important. And in my report, education being a major part, it was so important to have exchange of ideas, exchange of faculty staff. But there I realized we had lots of very, very good women faculty members in Turkey. Again, going back to Turkey and realizing the percentages there are higher than in the United States. In science areas, the research areas, I identified 19 different areas that both countries should work together, and these areas were mutual interest. And throughout TASA conferences, actually, you can see these areas as the highlighted research presentations at the keynotes or the plenaries, because those are really showing the brain power of Turkish Americans. Again, some of my women programs, with Society of Women Engineers, with National Science Foundation, and with my current university, Istanbul Kültür University, I will talk about women's studies there. But let me blizzard through a few examples. With Society of Women Engineers, with National Science Foundation. As Francis was mentioning, with the federal government, there were a few important initiatives that were started. National Science Foundation started the advanced program. The goal is to increase the participation and advancement of women in academic science and engineering careers. In a way, what we're trying to do with these programs are to provide a better environment, a better climate in academia so that men and women can both advance. And NSF has been running this program for many years, and I served as a program officer. And I even served as a reviewer in 1996 when this originally started. These programs, really with the grants in 3 different types, leadership awards, adaptation, implementation, and dissemination, and institutional transformation, they are really changing the academic climate on campus so that the environment is better and men and women can both advance in academic careers. Many good examples that can be seen through different campuses are available online. And I strongly encourage our Turkish colleagues check into these, because these are experiences you can learn from. Even these academic experiences can be translated to companies, because companies also have the same problem in STEM education and the workforce, that low percentage of women in Western countries may not contribute to innovation. Let's see, next slide. Okay, with Society of Women Engineers, in 2006, I was a vice president, and I had many different responsibilities, but one of those that I really want to talk about is the government relations and public policy. That was the first year Society of Women Engineers started this, and it was under my leadership. And I really believed in this, because this really relates to my passion, because we need to really... Okay, we need to really communicate our issues to the public. So we released 2 general position statements. The first one was on the need of education in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And the second general position statement that we released was the application of Title IX to science, technology, engineering, mathematics fields. So through these 2 general public statements, we were educating public. But what we did is, actually, we took these statements to the US Congress, because I organized congressional briefings to educate the lawmakers on the need for diversity in STEM education and workforce, so that United States could be more innovative and stay more competitive with respect to these disciplines. As you know, all of those countries have competitiveness reports, and with these information, we could provide to the US Congress the need for a diverse STEM workforce. And we were very successful with the briefings we held at the Hill, or with the round tables that we had at the national academies, because US House asked us to chair House Diversity and Innovation Caucus and to be the steering committee chair for that. This was very important, because at the US Capitol, we were recognized, the Society of Women Engineers was recognized as the primary resource for policymakers on the issue of diversity for STEM education and workforce. So we are always the ones that know our issues. We have to raise awareness. We have to educate different audiences. In a way, we have to communicate our science and education to those people, to public, and to, at the one end, to the parliament. And this is one of those things that I'm communicating a lot in Turkey, because we're all experts in different fields, and we have to really go and educate those people who make decisions, or who are the ones who are writing the laws for these, and it's very important. It's our responsibility as the experts in the field. At my university, I am the director of our Center for Society, Gender, and Women's Studies. We have lots of different activities, and actually one of them is very interesting. I didn't put it here in slides, but we work we do work a lot in raising awareness on the issue of violence against women. This is something so different in Turkey. After moving there 1.5 years ago, I realized when I was there 25 years ago, it was different. But now there's so much violence against women, violence against kids, and also violence against elderly. So with my law college, we work on the rights, human rights, quite a lot, but especially women's rights, children's rights, and also elderly's rights. But with this program, with our women's studies, we are educating women, especially with our local governor, Bahçelievler governor. We have a collaboration. At my university, we offer courses in 21 different subjects to educate house mothers to come and learn from us. We educate them about their rights. We educate them about communication, health, nutrition, literature, psychology, interior decoration, because we as a university, we feel very responsible to reach out to our community and educate those women who didn't have much of education. And this is our social responsibility project, but it's something so that I'm passionate about. It's not only to educate women who have PhDs or bachelor's degrees, but we're also responsible to educate women who didn't even maybe have 1 or 2 years of education at the primary school. But we need to reach out to our communities. And my next slide will be almost the end. Okay. This is a study that I got from Catalyst. Actually, serving on the board of directors of Society of Women Engineers, I've analyzed lots of studies that Catalyst was preparing and presenting. But this gives the barriers to women in science, technology, engineering, mathematics workforce. And these are the barriers that women identified with percentages of 10, 20, and 30%. Women say that they don't feel included or they're not in a supporting environment that allows them to advance. Some companies don't strategically identify the talent, so they don't develop their own women talent. Women feel isolated, they lack mentors, networks, or role models. And also the work-life balance that the woman has to go through is another barrier. So with this information, I'm just making some suggestions with my last slide. What institutions or organizations like we can do? It's very important to have the commitment from top management for these barriers to be sort of passed easily. So if I'm the president of a university, I feel that responsibility. So the commitment has to be from top to down, definitely. Also, there has to be some initiatives for women to advance, like the National Science Foundation's Advance program that I presented. That has been working quite well, and NSF has been leading that, and it has been a good model for other government agencies' women advancement programs as well. Definitely, we have to really have good lines for promotion criteria. So we have to make sure that there's equality for men and women to advance. They know the guidelines. They know what the criteria are when they're sort of evaluated for promotion. Some companies are interested in starting organizations, women groups, and I'm not saying TASA should start one, but we're raising awareness through the voices. But it's very important in those groups, like my Society of Women Engineers group, we communicate our issues to target audiences. So we communicate the importance of diversity, how it affects innovation and competitiveness for United States. So we take that message to the US Congress, for example. Lifelong learning is important. In these groups or organizations, women or others can develop their skill set. They can identify what their talents are. So those groups are really good for skill development and lifelong learning experiences. Definitely, leadership pipeline, talent management is important. Managers, administrators really need to consider this. Recruiting and retaining the best is important, best and the brightest. Mentoring, role models will be good in these. Community building by mentoring and networking. As Sharon and Francis said, these are really important because we're building a community for the better, for all of us, for men and women. And definitely policies for work-life balance is something, governments, countries really consider. Going back to Turkey, I realized there is more policies there for maternal leave or certain things. Maybe there's more for US to learn in that part as well. So these are some of my perspectives, and thank you for listening to me.